I'm Jonny Smith.
I'm Richard Porter.
And this is Smith & Sniff, a podcast in which two friends talk about cars and many other things. I had to fly with Ryanair recently. Now, I'm not going to go on about it, but you know how I feel about Ryanair.
Yes.
Flight was delayed. Great. I think 3 hours delayed in a very small Maltese airport because I went to Malta. I'll talk about that in a sec. But I hadn't downloaded. I'm not modern. I hadn't downloaded any films. I had one free game on my phone, and because I moved house recently, I don't know where any of my books are, so I didn't take a book on holiday, which really annoyed me. There was one I wanted to finish, but so do you know what I did?
Did you just go into a sort of zen-like state of...
I did two things. One, walked around all three of the shops that were there, and I bought 2 pairs of socks, one with pufferfish on, one with a box of matches on. Don't ask me why. Second...
Who wants a pair of socks with a box of matches on it?
I don't know. It was sort of artistic, and I think the company's called Happy Socks or something, and they just make jolly looking socks, and I thought, oh, that's fun, and I'm bored out of my fucking mind. So they caught me, they hooked me right in. But then I settled back down, and while the children were listening to music and stuff, I thought to myself, just have a quick look online at second-hand things. I bought a boat about half an hour before boarding. Well, I thought to myself, I've been looking around quietly. Now, listen, look, guys, ladies and gents, we are not talking about a 50-foot motor launch or yacht or cabin cruiser. I must stipulate that.
Well, because Harry Metcalf was on their socials the other week, probably about a week or so ago, trying to sell a share of his big boat.
Yes, spoiler alert, I didn't buy a share in Harry's garage boat. I didn't do that.
No, because when you messaged me and said you bought a boat, my first thought was, oh my God, you haven't bought a chunk of Harry's boat. But no, he was quite upfront about how much that would cost, and it was quite punchy. It was out of my league, definitely. And I needed the boat for a specific purpose. So I think what whetted my appetite, 2 things. One, going to Malta Island. I've seen lots of interesting boats in the last fortnight. And as you know, I moved house recently, and I have access to some water. Well, by that I mean, I don't mean like I can shower myself every morning, but I mean like I have, there's a river nearby. And I thought, I think I'm going to get something to just tickle around with. Take the kids out, and then might persuade you to come up and record a podcast while smashing our way off the banks down the river. Getting into a massive sort of like tiller-based tank slapper. And then, went on eBay, found this lovely, sweet little, very badly painted 12-foot glass fibre dinghy. It comes with, and I picked it up yesterday, I took it on its maiden voyage yesterday. It comes with an electric outboard motor, a heavy-duty marine battery that's only about 4 months old, nice cheeky Yuasa, and a C-Tech charger to keep it looking after itself, and an anchor and an oar, and even 4 life jackets, and also a trailer, which he was, the guy that sold it to me was really lovely, and it was definitely a bargain. £363, and I had to go and get it, and it came with a trailer. Borrowed my brother Greg's Golf because I don't have a car with a bar, which is really bloody annoying. Must remedy that, because it's so annoying when you realise you got numerous cars with no tow bar. And picked up this boat, and the owner went, "You're going to be towing it much?" And I went, "No, not really. I'm probably going to tow it and then leave it in my garden, and then I can kind of push it
from the garden, and he went, "Oh, well, that's good because trailer's not great, really." and it looked fine to me, but I think it's probably been parked in a salt bath for about the last decade. I checked the tyres and the obvious things. It had a new light board, but I was driving it home with definitely one eye constantly on the rear view mirror. You know, where you feel like your eyes are pointing in different directions. I got it home, and yesterday, took it out for a cruise. Got to say, Rich, all over it, mate, all over it. Fucking brilliant. Loved it.
So, what is the body of this boat? It's not inflatable.
No, it's a hard glass fibre, and it's deep moulded with all the seats inside. So there's probably seats for 5. It's a 12-foot craft, and then you just clip the electric outboard onto the little transom with what looks like G-clamps type things. People who are listening to this who boat regularly will know that I'm very amateur by the fact I'm not using all the right terminology, but look, I'm learning, hey? and the fact is, yesterday I managed to launch it in the most Heath Robinson way possible. Got it at a really acute angle on the bank where I knew it was ready to sort of go in. But I thought if I push off behind the boat and then don't manage to jump in, I've pushed the boat into the river with no one in it, and I had a bit of a moment of going, oh shit, that would be really bad. So
that feels like an absolutely textbook way to attract the smirking mockery of boat people.
Yeah, I got it teetering with the tiniest bit of friction resistance on the bank, and then ran all the way down the garden and jumped on the boat and sort of skidded into it to push it out. And it sort of worked. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna, as I was going down the river, we were discussing, should I metal flake it? Should I put memory foam cushions in it? At the moment, it's got a decal of someone's put a tribal tattoo decal on the back of it of a huge raven. So
that well-known aquatic bird, the raven.
I know, that's what I thought. Okay, I know it's painted black, and that's the thing. Someone's gothed it. It's been painted with really cheap paint with what looks like, I don't know, what's it been painted with? Like, as if you'd had a haircut and wrapped all the hair around a sponge and then just daubed it on. It looks awful. So I've got to give it a rub down and give it a half decent paint job. And I don't like black boats. A bit sinister. Don't need that. Want something jolly.
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
but the motor's great.
The electric motor as well, in your sinister black boat with a raven on the back of it, you could just move really slowly at dusk down the river, pretending you're in the SAS.
Oh my gosh, that's what I could do, couldn't I? Rivercraft
just
SAS.
a thought. I think that's what we should do. If I come up, I'm going to bring a black roll neck.
Yes.
A balaclava, maybe?
Yes, please.
Have one of those.
I'm going to wear everything black to look SAS, but at the final second, I'll put a bright white captain's hat on with gold rope across the front.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought you were going to say bright white Jerry Seinfeld in the 90 trainers.
Oh, no. No, they'll be muddied instantly on the river. Instantly.
What about black? They wear those very high lace-up boots, don't they? SAS people, but they're not hard. They've got a bit of softness to them so you can creep about.
Yeah, they're like if New Balance made Doc Martens kind of thing.
Sort of, yeah. Yes, but wear those, but then with those blue protective booties over them, you know, the ones that are like a reverse shower cap.
Oh, yeah, when you've like just decorated your house or something, or the tradesman's going in to check the boiler.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, those. So, yeah, I'm all over it. I'm all over it.
I mean, that's exciting. I am disappointed that it's not the sort of inflatable sort of dinghy with a really shit 1 horsepower outboard on it, so that we could reenact the infamous James May, Colin Goodwin slowly sinking on the River Thames after a trip to the pub incident that we've mentioned before on the podcast.
Well, I'm sure I could start road testing low-powered outboards if you wanted me to, because I've got no idea. whether anybody's interested in this sort of thing, whether it's just me and something I'll do on a Sunday. But I'm definitely going to rope you into coming, and we'll do a podcast/video cast thing. I've had a few ideas of cup holders and adding a few optional extras, like a headlight. I was thinking about a headlight.
Oh, but like a searchlight, like a big, powerful searchlight. Again, like you're in the SAS or something.
Yeah, exactly like that. A nice big searchlight, but an LED one. I guess in the country they'd call it a rabbiting light. But I thought we'd have one of those in case you've totally mistimed sunset in winter.
Yes.
And then you realise phone torches simply won't cut it on the river. No.
Have you ever been in a situation where you go, oh, God, it's gone really dark? That's all right, I've got a torch on my phone. And you suddenly realise that the torch on your phone is really good for just looking underneath a sofa to try and see if you've dropped the remote down there or something.
Yeah.
Absolutely not good for completing a final stage of the Thousand Lakes Rally through the forest when your headlights are all broken or something like that. The phone torches have their limitations. So, hey,
it doesn't throw
James
its beam,
May,
does it? It doesn't throw its beam.
No, it doesn't have a throw.
No.
Speaking of James May, I didn't tell you about this last month. He was doing a tour to promote his Explorers show and stuff. They're doing like a live tour of theatres.
Oh.
And he came to Bath, depending on where you...
What does he say? What does he say?
Oh, he'd say Bath.
Yeah.
Because he's originally from Bristol, May. So...
I always forget that he's kind of Gloucestershire, Avon spec, isn't he?
Yeah. He gives himself away when he says nearly, because May always says nearly, very brizzy.
I remember when I used to watch Top Gear, there's a few words which would give the game away.
Yes.
Which I'd go, oh, he's slightly West Country. Interesting.
Yeah, no. And Nurley is one of them. But so mate, I couldn't go to this thing he was doing in Tyne. But I saw the schedule for it, and he was playing Bath, and he was doing Bristol 2 nights later. But on the night in between, he was performing in Cambridge.
What?
Like, what the fuck? I don't know who the hell put your tour itinerary together. It's like it was someone who's geographically illiterate. And he went close. It was an Australian. And genuinely, this person who'd put together the tour thing had booked all these theatres with only a very shaky idea of where British towns and cities were relative to each other.
What, they didn't just print out a map and stick it on the wall first?
Just throw darts.
Oh my gosh, Cambridge.
He had to trudge up the M4 and round London up the M11 to Cambridge and then do the same thing back again to go to the place he just left. Nearest, damn it. To do a thing all about explorers. I mean, it was sort of beautifully ironic, but in no way deliberate. It was genuinely because the person organising it wasn't really that abreast of where places are.
What an absolute flute.
Now, there's a thing I want to read out because this came through, last month, and I finally remembered to read it out. I'm not going to say any names here.
Okay.
For reasons that will become clear.
Okay.
This listener says, "Hi guys, my brother is a famous sportsman." Now, he's identified the brother, and he really is a famous sportsman. He's like household name famous. I won't say any more than that. But
does he have a 360 quid boat? That's the question. How famous is he?
See, that's it. He may have won many things in his sport, but he definitely didn't win at life because he didn't, as far as I know, have a £360 boat.
Got a hand-painted glass fibre raven that is river-worthy.
The hand-painted raven sounds like some kind of book you'd find on the shelf in a rented cottage. And you sort of look at it and go, I'll read something else. Anyway, so this listener says, my brother is a famous sportsman. He once owned a Ferrari 355 Spider. Now, this is when they were new. This is a brand new Ferrari 355 Spider. My brother went on holiday, and as a 21-year-old car nut driving a Mark III Escort, I really wanted to take the Ferrari for a drive.
Oh, gosh.
As I was looking after his house while he was away. He told me before he left that he knew me well and had taken a note of the mileage to prevent me having a sly drive. But little did he know that I was an apprentice mechanic and managed to get my hand into the back of the Speedo and disconnect it.
Oh, no.
I then went for a spirited drive. Unfortunately, my talent ran out on a tight corner. There were wipers and indicators going as I frantically tried to correct the slides.
Oh, no.
But ran the car into a small grass verge at the side of the road. I drove slowly home and went to the front to inspect the damage. Nothing too bad, just a broken number plate and a crack to the front spoiler. So, my deception continued. I superglued the spoiler back together and made up a new plate at work the next day. Then I reconnected the Speedo and put the Ferrari back in the garage.
It glued a new Ferrari chin spoiler back on.
I never told my brother about this, and 3 months later he sold the car to Prince Nazim.
What?
Now, his brother is not in the boxing business, so this is an incredible inter-sport car trade. But yeah. And to this day, my brother does not know what happened or about my bodge. I'm not sure if it was ever discovered.
Bloody hell, Richard.
I wish I could say who this is, because it somehow it makes the story more it makes the story more delightful, because when you know the sports person in question, you could sort of imagine their face at discovering that their brother had super glued their Ferrari bumper back together again. Anyway, mystery correspondence.
I'm so glad you read this out, because I would have accidentally blurted out the name. I presume that's why you didn't trust me to do it.
I wrote back to the listener. I went, look, can we read this out if I promise that I don't give it to Jonny and he accidentally IDs, because obviously the listener has the same surname and it would be immediately identifiable. So he said, yes, that's fine, but it was on the basis of you not doing it. But yeah, so I don't know if anyone ever saw Prince Nazim driving around in a Ferrari 355 Spider in the 90s. This was that, but if you did, you should know that the front spoiler was superglued together by someone's brother who'd broken it in the first place after disconnecting the Speedo.
Nazim was a bit of a car pervert, wasn't he? I don't know if he still is, but he had a string of stuff. He might have even got into some trouble for driving a little bit naughtily.
I think, did he? Yeah, did he lose his licence at one point?
I think he did lose his licence, yeah.
What's happened to Prince Nazim?
I don't know what's happened to Prince Nazim at all.
I mean, it's like he's not actually a prince, is he? Decided to call himself that.
No, he's not a prince. And weirdly, would have been 4 weeks ago now, a month ago, poor old Ricky Hatton passed away.
Yes, yeah.
Boxing ledge. And that hit me really hard, because I've met him and filmed with him when I used to present on Fifth Gear. I had a really fun day with him. He was the nicest guy.
Yeah.
And I went to his boxing gym, and we drove his Only Fools and Horses trotter van there. And I think he stalled it. I'm going to say he stalled it over 20 times on a 10-mile journey. I've never been in a car that stalled so much. And he, bless him, he was just chuckling about it the whole time. It had the worst clutch. It was like a light switch, worse than any race clutch. I don't know what was going on with it.
Prince Nazim actually went to prison for dangerous driving. Yeah, 15-month prison sentence. And he was stripped of his MBE as a result of it. But this story is from The Guardian here. They put Prince Nazim stripped of MBE after time in jail for car crash. But they've put Prince in inverted commas, acknowledging that, in fact, he just gave himself that title, I think. But
not the most disgraced prince, though, you know?
The Andrew formerly known as Prince. So
the Robin, formerly known as Prince, No. Well, there we go.
Anyway, well, shall we move very, very swiftly on? Because it's another of those episodes in which we both have a little wander through the PistonHeads auctions.
Yeah.
As regular listeners will know, we are sponsored by the nice people at PistonHeads, and as well as their extensive classified section, they do online auctions with some really interesting stuff. So we each pick a car, and you can have your say on which of us has chosen the best of the two cars by going to pistonheads.com/Smith and Sniff.
There's always interesting material. Machinery. Let's use the term machinery.
Yes. Yeah. And before we started recording, you and I somehow both alighted on a really unusual car that's coming up, that's in an auction that's live at the moment. But that we both went, now, what's that all about? Because it's one of those cars where you just go, I hadn't really ever thought about these. And
no.
It could be, actually, what if it's good? It's a 2004 Dodge Neon SRT4.
Yeah.
So if you remember the Neon, well, this is the second generation Neon, the one that we didn't get these as a Dodge here, and we definitely didn't get the SRT4, which was like the sort of performance version.
Yeah.
And this one's been tweaked up to almost 300 horsepower. We were both looking at it and going, oh my God, why has someone imported that? And then suddenly went, what if it's really good and nobody knows? But then you'd buy it and you'd spend the rest of your life explaining it to people.
Yeah, a bit like me not having an iPhone and explaining to everybody who seems to tut at me for having an Android. And I'm constantly trying to protest its innocence, going, hey, it's good. I've got no issue with it. You should try it sometime. Maybe that's what it'd be like with the SRT. Can you actually remember what SRT stands for without cheating and looking?
I thought it was sport racing technology, but...
Street and racing technology.
Is it street racing technology? Yeah. See, that sounds like the kind of thing that, certainly in this country, the advertising standards people would go, no, you can't say street racing.
Street and racing.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Or maybe
it should be SART.
Stop it. Stop it.
I mean, you know.
Yeah. But I have to say, though, so when I read in the particulars, and bearing in mind there's 259 pictures of this, and I reckon in the last 40 minutes you've looked at least 140 of those. Very rare in the UK. Like you said, we didn't get them. And I saw that it said stage 1, and I thought, what does stage 1 really mean? You know, what is it?
Air filter, new air filter.
Stainless exhaust. But alas, not. Stage 1 includes vast improvements to the brakes, clutch, shifter, suspension, also included at over $10,000, with further enhancements being carried out over the intervening years. And then I scroll down and I see that it's got a big brake kit, which I don't know if that's part of stage 1. It must be. But you and I were like, who's going to buy this? But then actually you think, this will be one of those very rare Mopars when people always say, oh yeah, I've got one of 10 yellow manual Hemi thingies.
One of one.
Yeah, well, one of one. In the UK, maybe there isn't another one of these. I don't know. We'll have to...
It does say in the ad it's the only one in the UK, so...
Well, there we go.
Anyway, this is not one of the cars we're choosing, but we were sort of distracted by it. I was also distracted by another honourable mention for this 1993 Range Rover Classic LSE Firestorm by LRA, which is an incredibly modified long wheelbase Range Rover Classic, modified in Australia and then brought over here. The thing that caught my eye, whilst also making my eyes become incredibly wide and slightly frightened, is it has a supercharged Chevrolet LS V8, and it's claimed to make 640 horsepower.
Bloody hell.
While also being quite significantly raised
top heavy
for additional ground clearance. And yes, it's got an awning and stuff on a roof rack and things. And so I think that's going to be exciting to drive, and I probably would never use more than quarter throttle, perhaps, unless I was feeling quite brave. But I mean, it's a hell of a thing. And again, it's a bit of a... Well, funny enough, in the description,
it's
it
based upon
says,
an LSE, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, so it's the longer one, which just, why not? If you're going to go all out. But in the summary, it says the much-used term "find another" isn't applicable for this listing because there is, in fact, not another to find. This really is a one of one. So
hang on. Does that mean Serrano will find another before the person's even finished the sentence of "find another"? He's already punched them square in the face.
Yes,
held up a very straight finger and gone, "There isn't."
Yeah.
Enough.
I don't know if he'd punched them. He might just one finger, which he presses to their mouth in a slightly aggressive way, and just goes, "No."
Oh, hushing the mouth.
Yes, he just hushes them. Anyway, that's not what I've chosen. So my choice this time around is a 2004 Mini Cooper S by HRRCC. Now, I've been eyeing up these cars because there've been one or two appeared in auctions that you've covered on your channel. In real life rather than online. And my interest was piqued by this operation. So HRRCC is Howard Road and Race Car Company. I think they're a father and son operation as far as I can gather. They
are. And they are utterly meticulous. They do specialise in the 2001 onwards minis.
Yeah, so I have a bit of a thing for these first generation BMW Mini Cooper S's.
Yeah.
Because they were the supercharged ones and then subsequent generations went to turbos. And these cars had a very particular personality.
They did.
And
yeah.
There's nothing like them, but they are getting old now. And every so often, because I see them around, I always go, "Oh, yeah, I'd love to have one of those. One day I'll have one of those." But they're getting a bit old now. And
I think this is about to do with you what Supras did and Skylines did with me, where I was saturated by them. They were everywhere, and I thought I'll just come back to them soon, pick one up for not a lot of money. And then I kind of fell asleep and woke up and they were 50 grand.
Yeah.
I'm not saying those minis are going to be 50k, but I'm saying they're 25 years old and a lot of them have been used hard and enjoyed.
Exactly. That's the thing. And I think the quality of those early minis was not always the best. They had a few problems. And so there's a risk that you'll get a troublesome one. So Howard Road a Race Car Company take these cars and they do like a 16-week renovation. It's near as damn it a restoration. They just sort them out. They replace the bits that need replacing, and they rebuild them. So
they do. Yeah,
it's probably about as close as you're going to get to having a new early 2000s Mini Cooper S, and that's incredibly appealing. And I've watched the ones that have gone before, and they haven't gone for stupid money at all, considering the amount of work that's gone into them. They're incredibly tempting.
I think they're great value. Great value.
Really are. And I just think, do you remember when we went to Rennsport in the US a couple of years ago, and we were talking to that chap from Porsche?
Yeah, Michael. Yeah.
Now, he works for Porsche. He has access to many, many Porsches. But he had just, at that point when we were chatting to him, had just bought with his own money one of these supercharged Mini Cooper S's, and he was raving about it, saying there's just nothing like it. It's a car there will never be another thing like it. That little car, that great chassis, that supercharged engine, it's just all there. There really is nothing like it. So he's
really driven that car all around Europe this summer.
Has he?
Yeah, he has. Yeah. I think as time marches on, we say this a lot, I know, as time marches on, that car has got more and more appealing and more and more attractive because it seems so small now, and yet when it came out, there was an uproar about how big the Mini was. It's not that mini, but actually compare it to now, it is mini.
Well, that's it, yes, and they I think they're sort of timeless to look at. This one is red with a white roof, which is a very classic spec, and then it's got those big spokey wheels that I always liked on the Cooper S.
Yeah,
it's fabulous. I mean, I don't know what this will go for. I'm going to sit on my hands until it's sold. The auction ends on Wednesday. If you're listening to this when the show comes out, ends on Wednesday the 12th, and it's just Fantastic.
We've both been hovering around these like a wasp around a bin. So
How poetic.
Yeah. Well, my choice, yours is wisely a well-sorted early Mini Cooper off of BMW. I've gone for an S14 Nissan 200SX, aka Silvia, road legal drift car, which is thought to be one of the Team Falcon Tyres official cars, which is that really obvious kind of turquoise and blue, real 90s two-tone livery, which I rather like. I think they still race in that same livery. So, 99. I looked at this 1996 car. Do you remember when the S14 200SX was born? Do you know when it launched?
I mean, I couldn't tell you precisely, but I sort of remember them.
Yeah, 93.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, 93.
Huh.
And
Okay.
I wanted to find, I couldn't remember. I wanted to remember what the horsepower was of the turboed ones, because you could buy them in NA and then you could buy them as a turbo. This one's obviously a turbo.
They weren't mega powerful, were they? I feel like 190 horsepower or something.
Oh, you're so close, Richard. Goodness
Go on.
me. In pub quiz territory, you'd be up there. 200 horses.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. But you see, in 93, that was a lot of power. But if I remember correctly, and this is the thing, like we recently, I don't want to go too far off track, but recently when we did the Honda Prelude review on the
Yes.
Late Break Show, lots of people, I think, with maybe JDM tuned tinted glasses were going, oh my gosh, the Preludes used to be really fast and used to be this and used to look really macho. And it's like, they sort of didn't really. And I don't think prior to the drift scene, in the UK at least, people didn't look at 200SXs. Nobody yearned for them. It's only when the drift scene came in and we saw modified stuff in the homeland of Japan, and then suddenly it all kicked off. And 200 horsepower, I think it was almost a bit of a sleeper because they're such a sensible looking car without any body kits on. But this one here, well, obviously the SR20 DET motor is now 350 horsepower, highly modified, two-way limited slip diff. Caged on that side of things. Doesn't say that in the particulars. I added that bit. And so, yeah, this car's street legal sold with a new MOT, with all the FIA approved safety, and it's obviously stripped out. So if you wanted to do big skids, you could, but you could also drive it to work, possibly not on a frosty morning. I know that these are getting so hard to find in uncrashed, unruined condition.
Yeah.
Because they are so popular in competition. They get the front and the back chopped off with those sort of tubular chassis conversions and stuff. And this one, although it has a body kit and has obviously been done for competition, it's incredibly rust-free condition. And it's had 5 owners since April 96. And do you know what? I've never driven a standard. I don't think I've never driven a standard 200SX S14.
No, I don't think I have either.
And I feel like I ought to, because it's a bit like one of those legend cars. But yeah, this one, I don't know what this is going to sell for. I'm going to keep my eye on it. It's got a dyno readout with the engine rebuild, which is not that old. One of the funniest things, which in the details, lots of details, one of the things that really made me chuckle was the tyres are slightly worn, I think, and might need replacing soon. Like, no shit. Yeah, states the tyres need replacing as they're quite old. It's like, never before has a drift car had tyres that have got a bit old but have still got tread on, so you might want to change them. So it's really good. But no signs of no evidence of corrosion or damage, which is rare.
No, it does look really, really tidy and straight, certainly in the pictures. But
the joy of these
bad
boys is driving, of course.
There's two different ways to
spunk money.
Crack an egg, skin a cat, whatever you want to do, spunk money. Yeah. But, so if you're interested, the Nissan Silvia drift car auction runs until Sunday. Sunday the 16th. The Mini ends on Wednesday. Have your say on these cars and which of us you think has made the better choice by going to pistonheads.com/Smith and Sniff. Yeah. Since you brought it up, I wanted to mention our Prelude video that we made for the Late Break show, because it went absolutely nuts in the comments.
Yeah.
There's thousands of comments, but a lot of people getting really raggy for exactly what you were saying, just going, the Prelude, it should be, I mean, so many people going, it should be rear-wheel drive and manual. And you're like, since when has any Prelude been rear-wheel drive? Like, I think you've completely misunderstood this car. It's like the Prelude, as we said, in our podcast about it and in the video, it's like the Prelude was always a bit easy listening.
It was easy listening. Yeah.
The VTEC-y stuff was a little bit of an outlier, because more often than not, it felt like Preludes, certainly in this country, but I think also in the States, where, it used to do quite well. They were autos, they were lounge lizard cars. And in that context, the new one sort of fits the mould. But yeah, I saw quite a well-known car online person saying, it should have been rear-wheel drive. And it's like, you're supposed to understand this stuff. Like, where's Honda getting a rear-wheel drive platform from for a medium-sized coupe, fuck's sake?
Yeah.
They're not going to spunk $1 billion to develop a rear-wheel drive chassis just for one car that's not going to sell very well. It's a new top hat on a Civic floor pan just to create something a bit more stylish for people who want to cruise around without the need for back doors and a bigger boot. It's strange how people have really kind of misunderstood that car, but also how agitated they seem to be getting by it. Like, let it go.
Yeah, I think
really
was thinking yesterday, now that I'm a captain, I really think that I think that I could really see myself gliding down to a quayside in a Prelude, loafers, perhaps just a cheeky little bit of Christopher Cross playing, early start,
it's a sort of yachty car, isn't it?
It is a bit yachty.
I hadn't thought about this. It's a bit yachty.
Yeah. Open the boot, you've got a couple of boys in there. I don't mean people, I mean safety devices. Perhaps a little anchor, picnic basket, few odds and sods. Just, you've been to the chandlery. You've got a few odds and sods, right?
Yeah.
And but the thing about to get down to the quayside, very windy and tight. So only a loser would drive down in a G-Wagon or a Range Rover.
Yeah. Oh God, no, you don't. But also, the sort of the tasteful end of yachting. You don't want to shout about it, do you? But yes, no. That's it. I could definitely see boat shoes and a little captain's hat would work well in a Prelude. Just one last thing on the Prelude front. A listener called Oscar wrote in to point out there's some terrible. I haven't checked if these have been corrected, because Oscar wrote in a week or so ago, but there's some terrible typos on the Honda website when you look up the stats for the
Really?
Preludes. Yes, it claims the maximum speed is 188 miles an hour. It's not true.
Maybe my old university mate has hacked the system.
Oh,
that's what it is, isn't it? He's been in there.
But also, it accidentally claims that the combined mile per gallon figure is 5.2. Again, I think there's been an error there.
That's definitely Harpal who's been in there.
It's just exaggerated all the numbers in the wrong.
Listen, a mate of mine's been he went over to Japan, did a bit of business back in the day. He could speak a bit of the local language. Went over there. They were real playing it down. Oh, this has only got 220 horsepower. You fucking know it's got more than that. It's got at least triple that. They're being really polite, but when the hammer goes down, you know it. You know it's there.
Because you were away in Malta, and
I was.
I suddenly found myself with a little bit of time.
You buy a boat
while you were away?
What'd you do?
To try and sort out the Smith and Sniff inbox, because it's just got too many things in it, and it was just like, oh my god, there's so many things we haven't read out and stuff like that. So I tried to separate out some things I wanted to mention, but there's so many. There's one here from a list. I'm not going to say their name, but this person says, I'm in charge of video production at a respected new car buyer's advice publication.
Oh, okay.
So he says, the most important part of my role is to get to the location early in the star car and spend an hour or two gathering plenty of B-roll of the vehicle to cover all the cuts.
It's hard to do that in winter, so my hat is doffed to that person.
It's always cold and miserable, isn't it? You're trying to get some sort of detail shot of the badge, and then you realise it's dirty because the roads are dirty. You've got to give it a wipe with a tissue. Anyway, this listener happened to be listening to one of our episodes on the CarPlay system in the car that they were filming, got all their cutaways, used some of them in the video, and apparently the big boss called him in and said the video was fine but had one amendment. They said, what the fuck is a silty trombone? It sounds dirty and you need to remove it. This was one of our episodes ages ago, wasn't it? Which we called the silty trombone.
We did.
So this listener was listening to that episode. It was on the CarPlay screen. They used it as a cutaway. And because the car had already gone back to the manufacturer that had loaned it to them, they couldn't reshoot it. So they just had to blur every single interior shot where the infotainment system was visible.
No.
Because it said silty trombone.
I'm going to have to look this up now, but I must say thank you for that attempted Easter egg in your video. That's really kind of you and very amusing.
Another anonymous listener, I won't dob them in the shit, but it's somebody who works at a Lexus garage. They said we don't normally get many famous faces in, but today I walked in and saw a 2009 Lexus LS460. It was a JDM model with a private plate on it. The surprise was it was owned by none other than Steve Rotheray, the guitarist from Marillion.
We've talked about this before, isn't it? You found it. He's done a video in Bath.
He's active in the Lexus forums.
Is he?
Apparently, yeah.
Oh gosh, we're one step closer to Marillionitis.
I know. We did say we'd try not to mention Marillion too much, but that was great. So yes, he's out there. He still has his JDM LS.
Amazing.
And finally, a listener called Louise wrote in after we had mentioned on an Ottosot about how to communicate with other drivers. I think specifically we would talk about, trying to tell people that your tracking's out and things like that. Louise says, in our early 20s, 3 friends and I drove from Bristol to Edinburgh for the G8 summit in my old 90s Toyota Corolla liftback. Oh. She's put an asterisk by Corolla. The bottom says there's no such thing as a Corolla lady, sadly. We were going to Edinburgh to make a ring of people around the city for Make Poverty History or something, all very worthy. Some dill was driving too close on the M6, so my friend took the whiteboard that we had to hand for strategic activism purposes, wrote, "Fuck off my ring," and fuck is spelt the Mancunian way, F-O-O-K, and placed it in the rear window. The other driver backed off, then safely overtook and gave us a cheery thumbs up as they went by.
Really?
Yeah.
That's just brilliant.
Yeah, so Louise says, hopefully a whiteboard would be a solid option for anybody with willing passengers. That is quite a good idea, yes. And cheaper than your dot matrix system that you suggested, I think. Yeah,
that's great. And on the subject of the huge amount of correspondence we get, I think we probably are overdue a dedicated 1 or 2 episodes to just reading out, because frankly it is funnier than what we concoct.
It is, yeah. There's one more thing. As a listener now, I'm going to mangle your surname, Ben Wildeboer. I think it's a Dutch name, possibly South African, but I don't know. But Ben wanted to point out that we had been lamenting the fact that while cars are badged as V6s quite commonly, there are no straight 6 badges that we could use on our Eagle limo. Well, Ben has pointed out that there is sort of such a thing, because the Mazda CX-80 has an inline 6 badge on the front wings if it's one of the ones fitted with that engine.
Does it?
Yes, I looked this up, and sure enough, it's because I've only ever seen. I was like, you don't see CX-80s around all that often.
No.
In fact, I saw one a couple of days ago, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have a look at the inline 6 badge, which I'd looked up online already. And this one was a FEV, so it said FEV on the front wings, which isn't the same.
No,
obviously.
We can't put that on the Eagle Quest because that would be just lies.
Yes, and unless we could think of something else that it could stand for, but
I was thinking,
I can't think what that would be.
If it was small enough letters, I think straight 6 on that side of things would look really good. If it was in a very slick font,
yeah,
straight 6.
It's a fair much straight 6, but yeah, so it's inline 6, and it's on a sort of little lozenge thing. So
straight
yeah,
6.
Mazda CX-80 does indeed have straight 6 written on it. One final bit of business, which just I'm not going to say any names because apart from anything else, there's been loads of them, but also I don't want to dob anyone in it. But I mentioned in the last podcast that there's this sort of lay-by on the A46 out of Bath just before you get to the motorway. Always seems weirdly busy. Lots of people have written in to say that yes, that's a dogging spot.
Oh no, actual sex pestery.
Yeah, a few others have also said there's a car park not far from there that is also a very very notorious dogging spot, including from one of our patrons. Called John. I could say his first name at least because he was an innocent bystander in this apparently infamous other dogging spot.
Oh dear.
Near the M4. It's called Tog Hill. John says, I had an introduction to what happens at Tog Hill 10 years ago on a dark, wet November evening. At the time I was working near Bristol but driving home to Oxfordshire each night. A house move to the area was imminent. One night, in heading up the A420, my phone rings. I can't answer it, but I spot a handily placed car park and swing into a space. The call is the estate agent, so I start ringing him back and flick the interior light on to grab a pen and pad from my bag on the back seat. The call connects and the agent greets me. As I turn back to find a man at my driver's window peering in, one hand on his crotch.
No
My
way.
immediate reaction is to shout, fuck right off at the top of my voice with an accompanying V sign. But the agent is still on the line and heard this.
Oh no.
I then had to explain that it wasn't aimed at him. I've never stopped there since. So there we go.
That's appalling.
Actual dogging going on.
Accidental dogging has got to be the source of some new correspondence, I feel.
Well, yes, because there's a mate of ours that used to drive his granddad's old Mark III Escort in the 90s, and it wasn't in the best of health, and it used to cut out randomly whilst driving along.
Oh, no. No.
And he lived at this point sort of in northeast London, like up near Epping Forest. And there was a bit of road that skirted the forest with a car park. There was a notorious dogging spot.
Oh, no.
And this mate of ours was driving along this road at night when he could sense the Escort starting to splutter and cut out. And he coasted into this car park to get off the quite busy road. And then he's trying to get it back to life. But of course, every time he turns it, the headlights are sort of dimming and then lighting up again.
Oh, shit. No, don't.
So it looks like he's flashing his lights to attract attention, and he saw people sort of coming out of the trees. Just like a fucking zombie movie, but with sex people. And he finally just caught, and he absolutely dropped the clutch with 4,000 revs on it and sped round in a circle to get back out of this car park again.
Like sex moths to a flame.
Exactly.
Goodness gracious
if you have got any anecdotes, with a due sense of trepidation, if you have anecdotes about accidentally being mistaken for a dogger because of a car thing, hello at Smith and Sniff is the address. Didn't you do one though? Were you on a shoot for Max Power?
Yeah, I did a dogging investigative journalism piece.
Oh, that's right. You were deliberately trying to go.
I was trying to infiltrate. Yeah, I've explained it on a previous either video or podcast many moons ago. But and then I went a second time after that piece got published with my mates who were part of the other publishing mags like Car Magazine. We went in a car magazine long-termer once, actually. Yeah. And, yeah, and it scared the living daylights out of us, just people coming out of trees and hedges. It was really cool. I think this stuff's supposed to be erotic, but I think it's the absolute opposite for me. It's more sinister and terrifying. So that's why I'm not into dogging, I would say.
No, it never seems appealing, particularly as in John's story, on a wet November night.
No, yeah, just cold. Like, hot countries can get away with dogging more, I'm going to say.
Yes.
I just feel like the UK and, I don't know, Germany in winter isn't going to cut it.
Germany.
That's just my...
I mean... Yeah. There's also a part of me that thinks that dogging is a very British thing somehow.
It's not sexy, Rich. I think that's the problem.
Exactly, that's the thing. But I feel like there's something very sort of limp white bread sandwiches and flask tepid tea about it. That's sort of wholesomely British. It's too big of a mental leap for me to figure out where the eroticism lies. But I suppose that's it.
Yeah.
You either get it or you don't. It's like many niche pursuits.
Yes.
Morris dancing, we were talking about that last week.
Well, that's scary as hell. Fact.
Yeah. Oh, God, Morris dogging, though, combining two quite frightening things.
Oh, clacking the swords together. Get out of town.
No. Okay, well.
I was going to try and I realised that I've got lots of things to talk about Maltese car culture, but that'll have to wait.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I was just gonna end with saying there was a sporting activity that I paid for in Malta at the resort we were at, and it's money I'm never going to see back. And I was actually really cross about it, which is not ideal when you're on holiday. I'm going to put it out there. Padel. Okay?
Ah, yes.
Now, it's like the love child of squash and tennis. But it's more annoying than squash, and it's worse than tennis. And I like tennis. It's one of the only games that I play. And I paid €36 for an hour's worth of distinctly average sporting activity. Yeah, exactly. I felt like my pants, trousers, shoes and socks had all been thrown in the ocean, and I'd been left in a very public place.
That's a lot, surely. I mean...
Yeah. I thought so too, but my kids really wanted to try paddle. Like, we really want to try it. It's supposed to be great, and I was like, well, you do both enjoy tennis, and some play squash a bit here and there. So I thought, okay.
I've never played paddle. It's that one with the little plastic bats.
It's a glass fibre bat. It's a glass fibre bat, and you use a tennis ball, and it's much like squash. You know, you have a wall that you hit things against. This is like a smaller tennis court, and behind each player on the baseline is a big piece of glass, which you can whack it against, let it bounce, and then return it back.
Ah, right.
So it is a halfway house between tennis and squash, but I just don't think it's better than either of them.
No, is it it feels like low cardio squash then?
Yeah, that's what my daughter said. She said it's tennis for lazy people. And I said, oh, yeah, it is. And she's really good at tennis. So she was just like, this is rubbish. I'm not playing this again. Tennis rules. And I was a bit like, yeah.
But it seems to have become really big. Funny, I was at a local municipal sports facility here the other day with my daughter. And one of the other parents said, they're building some paddle courts over there. Because they have tennis courts and they have, football and rugby pitches and a running track and stuff like that. But yeah, apparently they're going to build paddle courts. It's like, God, paddle's really caught on. But maybe it's because, is it more, if you're not very good at sport, like me, is it a sport for not sporty people?
Potentially. I mean, look, I'm willing to put this out to the jury. But the problem is if you are used to playing tennis or squash, you have to reprogram your brain, and I find that really hard. So I was just treating it like tennis, and then realising that I was not letting it bounce, hit the wall behind me because I forgot that the wall existed. I actually ran into the wall twice. So I ran at quite high velocity into a huge piece of glass, and bearing in mind I'd paid €36 for this, it made me fucking furious. And one time, there was no one around. It was quite a discreet tennis court, sort of behind the hotel resort, and there was no one around. So I took my top off because it was really hot. So imagine a 46-year-old sweaty topless guy that really hasn't got the body to carry it off running into plate glass with a small glass fibre bat that looks like a banjo. Okay?
Because I used to play badminton a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
For a while. And I remember, but I took my dad in his youth was a tennis player, like not professionally, he just liked playing tennis. And I once persuaded him to go and play badminton with me, and he just couldn't get it because he kept waiting for the bounce.
That's exactly what I do. So I do like badminton and I respect it, but the problem is I constantly wait for the bounce and therefore I'm shit. So I'm just going to have to stick to tennis. I've just got to. There's no other way.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't think they're knocking down the tennis courts to put in the glass for you to run into. Did you? If you had those shirts on, you were very sweaty. Did you then leave a big mark on the glass, like when a bird flies into a window?
Yes, I did. I did. Honestly, I left a terrible mark. I'm really glad I took my watch off because I probably would have clacked my watch really hard against it. But and it's funny you should say that because the day I moved into my new house here, I accidentally. We were unloading a van at night and I stood on what I now know as a dead pigeon on the drive.
Oh.
And I was like, that wasn't there like an hour ago. And it turns out the next morning I woke up in my new bedroom, and all very excited. I'm in my new house finally. Looked out of the windows, which had been cleaned, to see a really odd smeary mark and a beak mark. And I saw exactly what had happened. The pigeon had flown at full velocity into my bedroom window and then dropped dead.
Oh.
Yes, it's still there. I haven't cleaned it off yet. So I've got the sort of outline of a dead pigeon on my window.
A bit worried that this entire episode has been quite unsavoury between the dead pigeon and the dogging and everything. Yeah, but anyway, I've got
loads of interesting Maltese car culture to talk about next week.
All right, well, for this week, we should probably just bring this into land. Before we go, 3 things to share with you. The first is that Jonny's engaged in a weird project to make the former lead singer of Marillion read out the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter to multiple decimal places under the working title Fish Pie. Thank you to listener Tim Schroll for the inspiration for that one. Just when we thought we were finally over these stupid fish things, people started sending in suggestions to keep it going.
Gosh.
If that's not to your taste, there is, of course, the Late Break Show, where you can see us two testing the new Honda Prelude.
Yeah.
There's what else is on there at the moment?
Well, there's a lovely car cave based not far from you, Bristolian way, of a really interesting guy who used to import Brazilian and Mexican Volkswagen vans and Beetles, and his garage, his private garage, is just very, very interesting. And this is one of those examples of where I think it's not just about the cars that are in it; it's about delving into the brain of the person who owns them and why. And there's some really lovely stories. So that's on there. There's an auction preview which will have been for the NEC Classic Car Show. So have a watch of the auctions. What people tend to do is they tend to go on the Late Break Show's TikTok, I believe, and then find out what the cars sold for. It's like a game of you going, I really enjoyed seeing that Fiat Uno Turbo. I would have paid 12 grand for it. Oh no, I've just discovered it's 32 grand these days. That's not fair. So you can do that if you want.
I'm going to the Classic Car Show, but which will have happened by the time this podcast goes out, but we're recording it before, so I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to have a lovely wander around. Haven't been for a few years. Second thing I wanted to tell you is that I have a new book out. It's called Petrolhead. It's a compilation of some of my Evo columns from the last 20-odd years. A couple of features in there as well. You'll know that if you heard the last Ottersott, but I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to keep saying it until everybody's bought a copy. So
there.
Sorry about that. So there. But
no, we're allowed. It's our podcast. We're allowed to promote stuff.
And also because, weirdly, every time I do mention it, I do notice that some people go and buy it. So relentlessly mentioning things does seem to work. I know it's annoying, but it does sell books. The final thing I wanted to tell you is that the Spanish national anthem is one of only 4 in the world that doesn't have any words.
Really? Instrumental?
Yeah, Spain, Bosnia and Herzegovina, San Marino and Kosovo are the only anthems that don't have words. But the Spanish anthem did have words. They were binned off after Franco was deposed, and then they held a competition to come up with some new ones, but never got round to using them. So it's an instrumental.
Never got around to using them?
Yeah.
Is that right?
I don't know. I don't think they could agree what the new word should be, because obviously it's quite a big deal, isn't it, your national anthem? And so they just go and screw it. It's an instrumental.
I'm just trying to think about now worthy instrumental songs that could accurately reflect a country or evoke emotion.
Well, I think it's Crockett's theme is an obvious one, isn't it?
Crockett's theme is stone cold. That would be amazing. Oh, gosh. Wow.
Anyway, thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.
So you've enjoyed this podcast, but you've had a thought. Is there a way here today that you could show support? Well, you could join our Patreon. What wonders that it brings. Early shows and extra notes on that side of things. You could buy our merchandise. We've mugs and hats, but still no ties. One day we will make those pies, but in the meantime, guys, hey guys, like and subscribe, and maybe leave a nice review. Like and subscribe, we know you know just what to do. Like and subscribe, we don't want to take the piss. Like and subscribe, but we were told to ask for this. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Britain's #1 dogging podcast.